Hey, hello, I'm Kråkan, also known as Corvus Cornix, so welcome to Yacc, yet another Crowcast where I pick a game, I play it for a week, and then I talk about it. This week's game is the Goonies II for the Nintendo Entertainment System. It was released in 1988 and is a single-player platforming adventure developed by Konami and also published by them. And also a little bit spoilers up ahead just so you know, but first a little backstory. So I was chatting with JP this week of Retrovaniacs while he was streaming from his Evercade, and we were talking about NES games such as Goonies II, and I thought about it for a while because he mentioned it was one of his favorite games, and I was like, I played it in the past, but maybe I should give it a go yet again. So when you start up the game, you get the main splash screen, and the bad guys telling you that they kidnapped your friends and Annie, this mermaid, as revenge for putting them into jail. And if you wait a bit, you get some demos of gameplay, and when you go from there, you get the option to start a new game, continue, and continue is basically passcodes. So when the game really begins, you're in this warehouse and happy, cheerful music is playing. You use your weapon with the B button, you jump with the A button, and start button brings up the inventory and map. And your starting weapon is a JoJo, and later you get some firebombs. So the enemies of the first level are snakes, spiders, and guys with guns that just decide to spawn in whenever they feel like it. And I explored a bit and I found a door and I walked in and I found a hammer. So when you enter a door, your view becomes first person. So you have a couple of options: go, hit, take, and tools such as the hammer. So you interact with the room while breaking walls and revealing hidden stuff. One of the puzzles was actually kind of funny. You actually knock on a wall and a door appears, and you interact with things with the cursor on screen. So JP gave me two helpful tips. One of them was getting a map, because this game is super convoluted, because if you walk into one of these rooms and you end up in another place of the map. And the funny thing about the map in the inventory is that it has two sides. So you have to navigate through a grid system, and you have warp rooms and stuff, and it's very, very convoluted. He also told me that when you enter a room, you view the things from the character's sort of vision. And sometimes you walk backwards and you go forward, but it depends on where you are. As I said, super convoluted. So if you're gonna play this game, go on Google and find a good map with all and everything revealed, because this game is very convoluted on where to find things. Like, as I said, knocking on the door reveals an item that is very crucial to you, or like a ladder or something. You will save yourself a lot of trouble just by doing this. And at the top of the screen, you have your current weapon and energy, and you get more energy by saving your friends. So I went a bit further in and I found a room with a key and a safe. And also I found one of the Goonies and I got some extra energy, and you open things with keys, which is kind of obvious, I guess. I explored some more and I found a warp room, and I wandered all over the place and I found an Eskimo and a boomerang and another hidden safe. And just to be clear, this game is divided into two modes. You have the 2D platforming segments, and then you have the first person interaction, which is like Shadowgate. And the enemies of this area are penguins, walruses, ice climber-like figures, and polar bears. And this is also where I got my first game over because of ice physics. So when you game over, you have two options: either you continue or get a password. And the funny thing about the password is that the bad guy just gives you the password to continue. And at this point I didn't know where to go, so I had to look up. So apparently you can get something called the hyper shoes, which makes you run faster. I also found out you can knock on doors, which is kind of funny now that I think about it, and it will reveal certain items. But the main item that I needed was a candle, and you need to find a random guy that's just sitting in a room, and you need to hit him 5 times. He's not an enemy, but you hit him 5 times and he just drops a candle. I also needed to find a diving suit and a ladder to progress, because you need to go underwater and you need a ladder to reach certain places. But the main point of the game is to save your friends. And in the end stretch of the game, you need to save Annie, this topless mermaid, because of course she's topless. And then you put the bad guys behind bars again, and that's pretty much the end of the game. So, gameplay. Save your friends and Annie the mermaid from the bad guys, the Fratelli's crime family. Control the B button as weapon, the A button jumps, the start button brings up the inventory, and the select button pauses for some reason, and the D-pad is movement. Graphics. So the graphics are really simple, the main character is really colorful, and the enemy sprites are okay looking. At least you know what you're looking at. Sound and music. Hideniro Masabe and Satoe Terashima made the soundtrack for this game, and I especially like the password screen track. But all the tracks are actually good, they do the game justice, and I don't think it has a single bad track actually. Easter egg seekers and glitches. I watched a speedrun done by Arcus, so he beat the game within 17 minutes and 40 seconds. And he had this interesting strategy where he died on purpose to save time. I also watched AVGN's review of this game, and at the end I was laughing so hard because he was complaining about everything. So in conclusion I wrote, yes, try it if you're curious. So the music is good and the graphics gets the job done. The game isn't bad, it's just hard to navigate. So my recommendation will be to go online and find a good map so you know where to go. The room sections are so tedious because you need to go into the menus and you need to select everything each time, and you knock and hit on doors and use the items and whatnot. So maybe if they were to remove the first person room view and just make it into a nice platformer, then they would have been a much better game in my opinion. So maybe try something else then. That would be a good recommendation. So anyway, thanks for listening and or watching, and take care.